We have one last question, which is a really cool question. Heal with Steel asked, he says, why are bodybuilders so bad at periodizing their training, but great at periodizing their diet, while powerlifters are great at periodizing their diet, their training, yet struggle with their diet? So they do the exact opposite, apparently. What do you guys think? A bodybuilder and a powerlifter answer.
I'm going to play off Pete.
Well, powerlifters don't really care about their health too much, to be honest. Like, it's not even a thing at all. So there are a lot of guys who are a lot leaner nowadays, and they try to have a good physique, but it's just come recently. It hasn't been much of a thing. So, like, I didn't care about diet at all for the last 10 years and didn't know what I was doing, or, I thought just eat whatever I want. So I don't really know how bodybuilders train too much. So it's hard to answer.
Do the powerlifters that you knew, sorry, before you answer, Steve, do the powerlifters that you knew, do they eat a lot of meal? Like, do they eat a lot of protein? Like, they have requirements, at least. I need to eat 3 pounds of meat a day, and then they just eat whatever else they want? Or do they totally not pay attention?
No, they don't pay attention at all to protein. They just eat whatever they want, as much as they want. So it's the calories, it's not the protein.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So pizzas and everything you could think of, donuts, protein's thrown out the window. Nobody cares. Just eat as much as you can.
Wow.
We were at a buffet once at a meet. I was at a buffet with some of I won't say who it doesn't really matter, but they were two of the best powerlifters in the world, a couple of them. We were at the buffet for like 3 hours because they would eat and they'd eat as much as they could. And then they'd sit there and take a break for 30 minutes. And then they'd go back and we'd have to get more. And I thought we were going to leave. I'm like, come on, man. So we were just sitting at this buffet for 3 hours. They go through 10, 12 plates because they would take breast breaks.
Wow. Are these super heavyweights?
Yeah, they were pretty big.
Oh, Pete, Steve, what do you think?
So with the bodybuilders, they mostly care about cosmetics. And the training is always a little bit more fluff. Because it's not necessarily for strength. So, you're trying to do your main lifts to get, the most amount of muscle mass out of that. And then the rest is just touch-ups, basically. And then the diet gets more attention because, we need the nutrients to recover and build our body cosmetically. But we also want to optimize the digestion so we get a flat waist and a flat stomach and not get too much protrusion, unless you get into the very advanced levels and drug abuse comes into play. But it's not really drug abuse. It's required to compete at that high level. And, the side effect of that is stomach growth or intestinal growth. But most of the guys that, now that classic physique is out there, everybody's really paying attention to their diet. And you don't need to be that astronomically strong to build a tremendous physique on when you're using performance enhancing drugs. So you see with the drug-free athlete, drug-free bodybuilders, true drug-free, not Instagram drug-free, that they lift reasonably heavy and do periodization and train to failure at certain lifts and don't train to failure at other lifts because they lack the recovery capacity to train to failure all the time. Whereas the enhanced bodybuilders, they can train to failure basically on every lift or close to failure and get a very good response. But even though they're doing isolation work to train to failure that way. And personally, I always enjoyed lifting heavy. Now lifting heavy, comparing me to Pete, is probably half the weight that Pete is doing, but I'm still training to failure and it's still reasonably heavy, not putting myself in a place of compromise, because again, we have to take longevity into mind. Whereas with lift, once you have that astronomical lift, that's set for life until somebody breaks that world record, right? Whereas with bodybuilding, you tear your pec and it's over. And we just saw that happen a couple of days ago with Ryan. Fuck, man, I couldn't even watch that video. Yeah,
why?
I couldn't.
I didn't watch it. I can't watch that.
No. I did watch it. It was horrible. But what I was shocked by is Larry held the weight.
No, Larry's
he held the weight.
So strong.
Wow,
this guy is so strong.
No joke.
And he didn't even strain, on his toes. You see he's on his toes on the bench.
That's a real spotter. He held the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
When I saw him in real life, he wasn't that big. He was like 242, and he was ripped to the bone. He looked like a bodybuilder, but that was before he blew up in size. But we did a meet. He was like 242. It wasn't he was just ripped and muscle belly.
290 now, I think.
Yeah, he looked normal, just like Superman. Like his body's made out of diamond or something. It doesn't break. Like he could lift whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah. Larry is somebody who found what he was meant to do.
Yeah.
One of the few, he was meant to be a power lifter, strongman, arm wrestler, everything above. Yeah. And he found it and he maximized it. And like for me, I probably would have been better a swimmer. But I decided to do bodybuilding.
But hopefully he found what he loves, right? As long as
He's
you
a very
love
nice
what you-
guy.
Yeah. Yeah. As you
Yeah, from what I've heard.
He's genuinely nice in real life.
Oh, wow.
I would never train with the guy though. Everybody seems to get injured. Like my friend Joe Lindner, Joe Statics. He went deadlifting with Larry also, and then he did 5 plates or 220 kilos. I can't remember how many plates it was. And then he got a small hernia in his back also.
Oh
so everybody's around. Yeah, they want to impress the guy, right? Like I can lift heavy too, and then they get into an injury. Like who's gonna bench 5 plates, man? Oh my god,
Exactly. Oh yeah, a couple more questions, Pete. Before you go, I want to ask you. Number one, because we talked about this a bit before. You talk about how powerlifters don't care about food that much. I guess most of the people watching this are bodybuilders. Do powerlifters abuse, or not abuse, but do they use large amounts of steroids? Like, do they use grams, 4 grams, 5 grams of steroids, or do they use lower amounts on average? The top competing people that you potentially knew.
I would say yes, but then everybody will tell you they take less than a gram total.
Yeah. Did you ever have a friend who you knew was telling you the truth and was a top competitor and that was using actually a lot and you were surprised?
Oh yeah. I know a guy and he would take very, very good, very top level power lifter. And he would take I don't even know how this is possible, truthfully. He would take 300 D-ball a day and he would take 400 Anadrol.
Oh wow. Wow, that's incredible.
I don't know how that's possible. I'd die, but
no, so
his
that's
liver
the same.
would probably also not say it's possible.
That's the same. That's the same problem I had the first time that this experience happened to me, and someone told me what they were taking, which was he was honest, and it was like a hard. I was like, "How do you fit that in you? Like that's too much." Because it was 10 grams of test at that time. So I was like, "How the hell are you fitting that in you?" Because we had a competition we were going to, and it was like a few weeks before. I'm like, "What are you on?" He's like, I'm not on that much. I'm just on test. I was like, "How much are you on?" He's like, 10. It's like 10 what? He's like 10 grams. I was like, "What are you doing? Where are you injecting that crap?" He's like, "Well, it's 500 milliliters per 500 milligrams per milliliter, and I just do 3 cc's, and every few days it's working out."
So it's
God damn. And the difference is, like, I noticed. So when I heard him say that, I was like, wait a minute, did this GH15 have some, was he telling the truth about some of this? Because I experimented before, it didn't really work. Let me try again. Just this time, let me just try with a test. So I raised my test dose over the next few weeks. Just because of him, I raised the dose to like 4 grams or 5 grams. I think I reached 5 grams of like crappy tests. I don't know how good it was, but I reached the 5 grams, and man, I was just aromatizing, 5-alpha reductase reducing. I mean, didn't want to stay testosterone, and then my androgen receptors did not want to respond to it the way this guy's were. So this guy was coming in every day bigger, couldn't breathe, his neck is just growing, he's stronger every day. I walk in and I'm actually getting a little weaker as the dose goes. I'm getting inflamed. I can't sleep. I mean, I'm sleeping all the time. I'm tired. So this is where I'm talking about that androgen resistance potentially. Some people don't respond as well. Some people have, you know what I mean?
Well, what we forgot to tell you is the copious amounts of injectable carnitine he was running for androgen receptor.
Or SHBG, you mean? Does it affect?
No, the carnitine, right?
Does it affect androgen receptor?
Yeah.
How so?
I've heard that.
Yeah, building block or whatever. There's some literature out there that it helps.
Really?
So I've been using it for L-carnitine L-tartrate. So
people ask about that all the time. Yeah, I thought
zinc also helps, and DHA and pregnenolone also help. So it's
I think he's born with a receptor that's better than mine, and it just when it senses testosterone, that thing just goes crazy. This guy is like
I've seen it.
Yeah,
some people respond differently, right? And you see their serum concentrations are lower than what you would expect it to be on a certain dose of testosterone, yet they're blowing up. Because all the testosterone is on the androgen receptor, not in the bloodstream. I mean, it doesn't do anything in the bloodstream. It should be on the androgen receptor and then potentiate, hopefully, anabolism and aggression or other side effects. I've went up to 2 grams of testosterone and felt totally fine.
I mean, it was
blood work.
I felt tired at the 2 grams was fine, but the 5 grams was too much. I felt tired and all that. But
I never went there. Huh?